to 1985. He was a counselor and worked in photography in 1988. And in 1989, he was a photo specialist. He got his undergraduate degree from Northwestern, and he went to medical school at Vanderbilt. Trent and his wife Ellie, Ellie, where are you? There you are. Trent and his wife Ellie have been coming to Nebagamon while Trent's been the camp doctor for 15 years, from 2003 to 2017. Trent and Ellie have two daughters, Shayna and Adina, who are on staff and campers at Comegee. And of course, we all know Micah, who is a swamper camper here at Nebagamon. Trent and family reside in Nashville, Tennessee. Trent is a general internist, which I just discovered yesterday means a doctor for adults. I didn't know that. Learn something new every day. He's also a pediatrician and does research and teaching at Vanderbilt. Trent enjoys running, hiking, cooking, and spending time with his family. One of the things that Trent told me as we were talking about his Sunday service, and I'm going to paraphrase, but basically he said, one of the best reasons to become a doctor is that you can come back to Camp Nebagamon every summer to be a camp doctor. This is certainly illustrative of Trent's love for Nebagamon. In fact, I've heard both Trent and Ellie say or describe Nebagamon as their happy place. We are lucky that they feel this way because it means that every summer we have an extremely competent doctor here to get the health center up and running, get the trip staff prepared with all their medical stuff that they need for trail, and that's a tremendous help to us. We depend on Trent and we trust him. He knows the ropes and knows exactly what needs to be done to get camp going, and then to support all of us by providing his medical expertise. Trent has literally saved a life here at camp. Years ago, we had a camper who had an anaphylactic reaction on trail, and it was Trent who helped us negotiate that medical emergency. There is no doubt that Trent's deep understanding and appreciation of camp is extremely helpful in terms of making the healthcare decisions we have to make here in our community. It's kind of a symbiotic relationship. Trent loves Nebagamon and we love having him here, and we each give each other the things that we need. There is no doubt how appreciative we have been for all his years of service here at Nebagamon, and we hope it goes on for many years to come. Before Trent starts, the Nebaga Sound will be singing Born to Run, and then Trent will speak to you about the values that he takes from running.
Sway The greatest rock and roll song ever sung, right here. Thank you. Now, big now. So I'm deeply honored to be able to speak to you all this morning. Adam tells me I'm the first camp doc ever to stand in front of the shrine and speak on a Sunday morning, so I'm deeply honored. It means a lot to me that all of you are here to listen to me ramble on. So here we go. And I thank Steph, but she's run off smartly, maybe. So people who know me identify me as the guy who runs all the races. They see me as some kind of crazy runner who goes out every single day and runs, puts my running shoes on and goes and runs in any condition at all. I'm the guy who'll do anything at all, no matter how crazy it is, as long as it involves some running. And there's a lot of truth to this. As I stand here and talk to you this morning, I've run for more than 200 days in a row. I've run nearly 50 marathons in the past decade, and I've run a heaping helping of ultra marathons. Ultra marathons are crazy races over nutty terrain that go for 30 miles or more and more. So why do I run? Why do I go out and do something like this every day? Here's a secret. I'm not even a very good runner. So why do I go out and run every day when I'm not a good runner? Well, I do enjoy it, and that's important to me, but there's more. This morning I want to talk to you about why it is that I run and some of the lessons I think it teaches. I'm not here to inspire you to become a runner. Rather, I want to use my own experiences running and my passion for running to teach you about some greater values that I think it imparts. My hope is that these values, not the running, but that these values may inspire you in your own life's journey. So I've structured this talk the way that I structure my running. First, I want to spend some time building a base. Then I want to use that base to launch into the core of what it is I want to share with you this morning. Think of it as a warm-up and then a race. So let's warm up first. I'm going to talk to you about 4 values that I take from running, and Adam's going to help me with this. Foremost, running gives me a way to explore, to get experience out on the road. Whether at home or on the road, running encourages me to go outside and experience the place and everything it has to offer. No matter where I am, I get to see things that are beautiful and interesting. I'm forced to become comfortable navigating in new places and to be flexible with unexpected routes that I might encounter. One of the many, many reasons I look forward to coming to camp every summer is that I enjoy running around camp. I enjoy running, I love running amongst the soaring pines, by the beautiful lakes, some of them vast, and some of them covered with lily pads. I love running out in the farmlands that surround camp with cows and barns. I love all the wildlife I encounter. I get to run through a beautiful small town with its Dairy Queen. I get to run along an old ATV trail and on an old gravel road. I love it. On other trips I might take, I get to run among majestic mountains soaring high, or through verdant green forests, or along creeks and waterfalls. On other trips, I might get to run through large cities, get to see the beautiful things that these capitals have to offer. I might get to run among the tourist sites without having to deal with parking and buses and traffic and all that. So running encourages me to explore different places and become flexible and comfortable in these new and interesting places and have these kinds of experiences. Second, running encourages me to connect with other people. At home, I have a core group of people that I like to run with. We hold each other accountable to our goals. We help each other meet those goals. We help each other in our daily runs and their efforts. And sometimes we just go out and run. We support each other and inspire each other on the good runs, and on the bad runs, we really push each other to be successful. One of my running buddies, Carl, who I run a lot with, Carl, when I'm out on a difficult run, he'll say to me, "What are you going to do? Quit?" Now that's hard love, But this kind of accountability is really important for keeping consistency day after day. Connection with people is not just at home, but also when I travel. So here at camp, I get to run with people that I don't get to see very often. I might run with Bronat Matt or Anders or some of the rest of you who I don't get to run with very often. We get to run out and we get to connect with each other without any of life's other distractions. No electronics, no books, no bells ringing us to projects. It's just us. Sometimes I run with people I don't really know very well and I get to connect with them better. And sometimes I get to go out and run with complete strangers who after just a few miles and the brotherhood of running were friends. So running encourages connection and it encourages accountability. Next, who here ran the Dragon Tail? Was it hard?
No.
Yeah. Someone said no. Good for you. You run harder. As a form of exercise, running also involves a lot of work and discipline. It's not easy. If you want to be successful, if you want to get better, if you just want to maintain what you have, every day you have to make running a priority. You cannot let it slide. You have to maintain that focus on what it is you're doing. You have to build the skills and you have to build the muscles. This is true for running as it is for any other major effort into which you dive, whether it be climbing the wall or swimming or sailing. Any of these skill-based activities requires this kind of training and discipline and work and focus. You need to work the muscles and tendons in your legs when you run. You need to be careful what you eat. You need to make sure to get enough sleep. You need to recognize your physical body so that you know the days when you're tired and need to rest, and know the days when you have energy and can push yourself. You need to set out a plan, and you need to have the discipline to follow that plan. But you also have to have the flexibility to modify that plan when something unforeseen arises. Many of you have seen me limping. I have a little plantar fasciitis, so I've had to modify my work plan to accommodate this while I try to recover. David Horton, a well-known professor of exercise science, and an accomplished ultramarathoner in his own right, has observed, one can only enjoy that which he acquires through hard work and toil. If it were easy, it's no big deal, but if you worked hard for it, it's a big deal. Running is physical work that demands you put in the time and effort. Last, running has a meditative quality. When I run, whether alone or with people by my side, there's ample time and space to let my head clear and my mind wander freely. People always ask what it is I think about when I'm out running for all those miles and all those hours. Well, I think about everything and I think about nothing. Certainly when I'm on the trail, I have to pay attention to the rocks and the roots, and I have to figure out the best strategy for scrambling up that next hill. And when I'm running on the road, I have to be attentive to the cars and the pedestrians and the stoplights. But mostly when I run, I can let go and let my brain just take me where it needs to go. I can clear out problems that are stuck in my head. I can work through difficult emotions, say if I'm having a bad day. I can imagine new ideas while I'm out running. Indeed, I wrote most of this talk while out running on the trails around camp. Mostly, though, there's just a sort of mental letting go that takes place when I'm running. Over the course of miles, my head just clears and calms itself. That calmness and detachment that I gain helps me as the miles pass and keeps the inevitable discomfort of running feel distant, feel at bay. And as these problems and emotions and ideas fall away, my head becomes clear. It allows me to remain focused on just running. This running and detachment together become a quiet meditation for me. So we've warmed up now. Let's review what we've done, and then we can go race. I've shared with you 4 values that I take from running. Running encourages exploration or experience. It encourages personal social connections. It encourages hard work and discipline. And last, it encourages thoughtful meditation. These values that give running meaning for me, I think are important for any activity in which you take part. However, there's more. I find that embracing these 4 values sets me up to learn an even greater lesson about success and failure. So to clarify this lesson, I want to talk to you about 2 races that I've run. So we've warmed up, now let's race. The first race is a race called Strolling Jim. Strolling Jim is run in early May in Middle Tennessee, 40 miles through the hilly Middle Tennessee countryside, and it's usually warm. The race is put on by a fellow who goes by the name Lazarus Lake. We call him Laz. Laz has long understood the importance of a challenge. His races are never designed to be easy so that just everyone can finish. Rather, they're designed to be difficult so that if you finish, you know you've really accomplished something. 40 hilly miles over asphalt on a warm mid-spring morning in Middle Tennessee is no walk in the park, as you can imagine. So in 2009, I lined up to run the Strolling Jim. That morning, it had been raining and storming since like 3 in the morning. And as I lined up, thunderstorms were set to hit anew. My goal that day was to finish the race in 7 hours, 40 miles in 7 hours. If you finish in under 7 hours, you get a red t-shirt. So that's a lot of work for a t-shirt, but you know. If you finish in under 6 hours, you get a blue shirt. If you finish in under 5 hours, you get a yellow shirt. Both of those are well beyond my reach. I wanted that red shirt. Most people don't even get that red shirt. I wanted that red shirt. So the race started, the thunder hit, the rain fell hard, and it fell for about the first 20 miles. The race is laid out like a large figure 8, with each of the loops being about 20 miles. And from what I could see as I ran on the course, all the creeks and rivers that I passed were bloated and overflowing their banks. Now, had I been in a literary mood at that time, I would have known this as foreshadowing, but I wasn't. Thank you for the laugh. I instead had a clear mind and was focused on running. I was focused on keeping a steady pace. I was focused on trusting in the work that I had done and the accountability I had set up with my friends by telling them that this was my goal. The task was not easy. This is not a flat course, as I've said. There is a hill at mile 9, so steep you can't even really walk up it. There's another one like it at mile 19, another one like it at mile 25. And then after that, you hit what we call the walls. The walls are an undulating series of rolling hills on gravel road. You hit the walls at a point when you're terribly tired and it's hot out. At this point, it was also humid out. And all it did was tell me how much work I still had ahead of me and how tired my legs were. But based on the work I had done and the clarity of mind, I was able to maintain focus on my goal. I wanted that red shirt. I wanted that sub-7 finish. And then I was running out of nowhere at mile 38. I encountered the course marshals. The course went this way. They were pointing me that way. Apparently the bridge was out. The bloated creek had overflowed the bridge, and we had to go on a detour some amount of miles further. Now, I had very carefully paced my race so I would finish just under 7 hours, and this was now in jeopardy. But I wanted that red shirt. I had that focus. I trusted the work that I had done, and I ran with all of my heart, and I ran my guts out. And there was mile 38. There was mile 39. There was mile 40 and 41, and I should be done by now. And I just kept going. And there was the finish line, and I ran, and I crossed the finish line 6 hours, 58 minutes, 3 seconds, the last one to get a red shirt that day. Success. I succeeded. My success that day stemmed from my comfort exploring and experiencing, adhering to a strong training and race plan, but holding on to enough physical and mental flexibility so that when I was thrown that curveball of a detour, I could hold it together and keep going. I also believed in my heart that I could do it, and I did it. The second race I want to tell you about is called Quest for the Crest. The crest in the title refers to a high ridge line behind Mount Mitchell. Now, Mount Mitchell is the tallest peak in the United States east of the Mississippi. It rises to 6,683 feet above sea level, which on the east side of the country is pretty high. It rises 3,500 feet, that's 3/4 of a mile, above the valleys around it. The Quest for the Crest is a race that takes you from the valley to the crest and back down 3 times over 32 miles, with the final climb actually taking you onto Mount Mitchell. The trails are not easy, the ridgeline is rugged. You cover 32 miles. In most years, a significant number of people don't finish. So I ran this race 6 weeks ago as I stand here talk to you this morning. I had put in hard and focused work with Carl, my training buddy, who, what are you going to do? Quit, he tells me. He also ran the race with me. So we had put in the work, we'd put in the camaraderie, the social connection. We'd worked on the clearing of your mind so that we could run this race. Race day came. We got to the starting line at 5 a.m. It was still dark. It was already warmer than it should have been that morning. Based on what we knew about the course, we had to get to the top of the first climb in 90 minutes and then scramble along the ridgeline and go down the next 3,500 foot, many mile long descent and get there by about 2.5 hours. So the race started, and up we went, up this brutal trail that's so steep in places, you have to use your hands to climb. That's how steep it is. We got to the top just after sunrise. Beautiful pastel clouds in the valleys below, an incredible alpine forest behind us, the ridge line all around, 91 minutes on the clock, so right about where we needed to be. And we got along the crest as best we could on tired legs, and we tore down that descent, and we got to the bottom just under 2.5 hours, right on time. We tore down that trail surrounded by just incredible, beautiful green waterfalls in the distance. It was wonderful. But then that was it. We were 8 miles into the race. We were completely and totally spent, and we had to turn around and climb another one of these 3,500 foot climbs. So somehow we trudged our way up that mountain. And then along this brutal crest trail, places 1,000 foot drop on either side of you. But our strength was out, and our mind was following. It was beyond anything the encouragement of brotherhood could carry us through. We were spent. And we believed that we were spent, and we gave up. We finally got to the second descent. We ran it as hard as we could because, it's downhill. And we got to the bottom, and we were timed out, and we were pulled from the course. 19 miles out of 32. Now, we had shared some great experiences, that beautiful sunrise, those incredible forests and vistas. We even got some donuts on the trail, but we had failed. We failed, I think, for a few reasons. We were excited, of course, to explore new terrain, but we'd never explored anything even remotely like this. In our training, we had not worked and explored this kind of thing. We had also built on our physical and mental strength, but we'd never in our training gotten to a place where mentally we were so low and we weren't prepared to overcome it. And so both of us completely fell apart and gave up. We worked together, but because we were working together and because we were mentally drained, we also were only as slow as the slowest of the two of us. So one of us wasn't pulling the other, rather we were pulling each other backwards. All of these things together contributed to our failure. So I've told you a story of success and a story of failure. I've told you how in success, using these four values, exploration or experience, social connection, hard work, and discipline, and then introspection, has helped me and my buddy, has helped us become dedicated runners, ready to take on any challenge. I've told you how adhering to these values helped me not just cover 40 miles, but when hit with that unexpected detour, go further and still accomplish my goal. Success is very important. It demonstrates that all the hard work that you have put in has value. It shows you the importance of preparation and perseverance, and it can be extremely motivating. But success is not always enough. Laz, who puts on the Strolling Gym, has said, if you're going to face a real challenge, it has to be a real challenge. You can't accomplish anything without the possibility of failure. That's why I wanted to share with you a story of how I failed. I worked hard, developed a discipline of mind, shared the hours and hours of running with a friend, and was still done in by elements that were beyond what I was ready for. I did not do enough. I like to tell people that failure is a gift. When you put in an honest effort and failure, it means that you have found your limits. That is a gift. When you fail, you can actually learn something new. You can gain some wisdom. You can discover what it is you have to work on. You can discover the skills that you need to build, the strength you need to create, or the focus of mind that you need to sharpen. In this case, I learned that if I'm going to run this kind of race, I need to spend more time exploring mountainous terrain, which doesn't sound half bad to me. I need to train more in warm weather. I need to be accustomed to the kind of mental strain that caused us such difficulty that day. And I need to learn to hold myself mentally together and work with my friend to do the same so that we can go further and succeed next time. Put yourself out there and take a risk. It means you have shown real courage against a real challenge. If all we have are success, you can do more. Failure teaches you where your limits are. I also think that failure makes you hungry. It makes you want to go back and do more. So I would encourage you to go out there, do audacious things, and find your limits. And then work to address those limits and grow and repeat. So I run because I feel it imparts these four values: experience, exploration, personal connection, work, and meditation. But mostly I run so that I can push myself, not just to have success, but to experience honest failures so that I can learn my limits and use those as a starting point for growth. I've shared with you these lessons using a whole lot of words. Our 26th president, Teddy Roosevelt, has said it more succinctly. I want to share with you in closing a final quote of his. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or the doer of deeds could have done more. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows the triumph of high achievement, and at the worst, if he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. I want to leave you with one final point. Another common saying in the world of ultra running is relentless forward motion. That is, keep moving forward. No matter how good or how bad it is, always keep moving. So with that in mind, I'd like to wish my wife a happy 22nd anniversary today, who has relentlessly moved forward with me through all these years, through all the good times and bad. And I'd like to dedicate the closing song to her. Thank you.